So looking good. So welcome everybody to this Canada Specialist Program webinar. Tamara from ITAC, please take it away.
Thank you, Charlie. Welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Danit Ada Tamara Littlelight Ada. Hello, my name is Tamara Littlelight. I present to you today from the traditional and ancestral lands of 7 tribes and Métis Region 3 in Treaty 7 territory near Calgary, Alberta. I'm happy to share with you that I am the new Sales and Travel Trade Manager of the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada. Thank you for taking the time to be here. As travel is at the forefront of everyone's minds after a lengthy halt, I will be going over a bit of an overview, a few Indigenous experiences, what is new, and how you can access our marketing tools. So, Indigenous people in Canada make up roughly 4.9% of the population. We are a small but mighty group who are enriched in our culture, customs, traditions, and knowledge. Close to half the Indigenous people in Canada are under the age of 25, which means we are the youngest and fastest growing population. There are 634 communities recognized in Canada, and the Indigenous peoples are categorized into 3 areas, being the First Nations, status and non-status Indians, the Métis, which is a culture that is derived from European settlers, mainly French and Scottish. When they settled in Canada, they created relationships with the Indigenous people. So they are now a recognized culture in Canada. And then we have the northern people, the Inuit. And to go a little deeper within those areas, we are not just one group of people. What you would experience with Indigenous peoples in the East Coast is vastly different with your experience on the West Coast. I say this because when a traveler has experienced Indigenous people in a specific area, say the Toronto area, they sometimes leave thinking they have grasped the entire Canadian Indigenous experience, which cannot be farther from the truth. So what is Indigenous tourism in Canada? Well, to simply put it, it is our way of life that we have been living for thousands of years. It is a tool that allows us to share our culture, customs, beliefs, and traditions with the world. We have so many stories to share, and we want to ensure that they are being told through an Indigenous lens. This ensures a true and authentic experience. Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada is a non-profit tourism industry organization. We support over 19 Indigenous tourism experiences across Canada. More than 200 of those are export ready, and that they are ready to work with the travel trade. Indigenous tourism employs 40,000 people in Canada. And by design, Indigenous tourism addresses at least 9 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals according to the United Nations World Trade Organization. Now we will go into a few of the Indigenous experiences across Canada, starting in Manitoba, which is part of Western Canada, with Wapas Adventures. This is a dog sledding company, and it offers some of its most adventurous tours. They have Northern Lights viewing, snowshoe walking, and dog sledding. Dave Dowley is extremely passionate about what he does, and it is felt by all who visit him. Now we are in Alberta, which is still part of Western Canada, with Metis Crossing. Metis Crossing is located in Smoky Lake, Alberta. It is about an hour and 30-minute drive northeast of Edmonton. This is one of our newer experiences, and within the last year, they have been adding more product to their area. It is the first major cultural interpretive center in Alberta. Guests can enjoy many cultural experiences with knowledge keepers and elders. They boast a brand new 40-room lodge. Also, you can go glamping in their canvas trapper tents, and they also have an RV park. They just recently brought back the buffalo to the land, and there is a cultural tour that is centered around this. Now to go into a bit of new product that we have. This is located on the West Coast, British Columbia. the Nemaya Valley Lodge. It officially opened its doors this month. It is the Indigenous owned and operated eco-friendly lodge. It is part of the members of the Hene-Gwitan community. They share food, traditions, and history amongst the landscapes. Guests can experience a retreat for 2 or 4 nights, and this also includes cabin, meals, outdoor adventures, and Indigenous cultural experiences. And this one is so exciting. I love this new product. It is located in Wendake, Quebec, the Onwa Lumina. It is an enchanted night walk into the heart of the Wendat culture. For the first time this summer in Wendake, travelers can experience an enchanted journey celebrating the life in the valleys of the Wendat Nation. Travelers will be transported by the magic of light, sound, video productions from Nightfall. It is roughly about a 1.2 kilometer route. It is immersive multimedia experience. Will bring everyone a collective adventure that is rich in emotions, connecting the founding myth to a future bearer and unifier. Those pictures are, I think they do justice, but I mean, to be able to go there, I can't wait to see that. So now we are going to watch a video.
It's all about sacredness. It's all about paradise. It's all about coming together as one and sharing what you know.
We want people to see our culture. We want people to understand who we are.
From coast to coast, there's so many different Indigenous people, and they really have their own stories to tell.
There's so many different elements that draw you to Indigenous tourism.
It's a culture that more people need to know.
Now is the time to celebrate our connection to this beautiful, vast country.
It's pretty incredible.
It's like the real, true Canadian experience.
I consider myself a protector of this area. We as First Nations people, have that connection with all wildlife.
We're from this land. We're not just a company bringing guests out into our territory. It's deeper for us. We're going after orcas and humpback whales, sea lions, grizzly bears, black bears, wolves. This is the ultimate Canadian safari.
Traveling by canoe, I mean, there's no better symbol of responsible ecotourism.
It's a vehicle of getting around, but it's much more than that.
You are connecting with the land, the people that you're traveling with. You get to experience things that you would not experience anywhere else.
When you're shooting archery, to me, it's more than a sport. It's almost an art. It really teaches us to be present, and that's a hard thing nowadays.
It's a good way to get everybody involved and learn a little bit about the Indigenous people and our ancestors and how we become one with Mother Earth.
If you want to learn anything about a people, you have to learn their food. True traditional Native cuisine is just eating off the land.
To me, this is Indigenous. This is like, I'm honoring my grandmother, like how she cooked. I want the guests to see how the food's prepared firsthand. Experiences like this are very unique and the most genuine. There's just like, I put so much good energy into it, and I just want the world to see it.
I think quite often with Indigenous culture in general, people lump us into one big group. But there's so much variety and so many wonderful flavors from the land and from the sea that we bring to the table. I think it's a small but significant food movement.
I made Montreal history. I'm the only Indigenous restaurant owner in the island of Montreal. And you know what? It took an Indigenous woman to make it happen. And I'm very proud.
More and more people are looking to experience culture in all its forms.
There's so many beautiful parts, the beading, the singing, the dancing, the stories, the legends, the language itself.
There's so much a person can learn. I can talk to you about ceremonies, I can talk to you about the powwows and meditation, vision quests, and so much,
For a long time, the government had outlawed the practice of Indigenous culture, Indigenous language.
When we talk about reconciliation in Canada, Indigenous tourism opens up a platform to bridge that gap together.
I kind of look at it as a responsibility now. Instead of like starting a business just for the sake of starting a business, it's my responsibility to create space for other Indigenous people. This is really emotional.
It's allowing us to build confidence. It's allowing us to get out into our territories. It's allowing us to find who we are again.
Indigenous tourism is about bringing that culture not only to the rest of Canada, but to the rest of the world.
It's all about sacredness. It's all about.
Well, wasn't that so captivating? I just love that video. It always gets me every time, but I will finish my presentation with some marketing tools that you guys can take the time to go through. We've got our corporate website, which is Indigenous-tourism.ca. It has a travel trade section, an image bank, an interactive map that shows all of our Indigenous experiences across Canada, itinerary guides, media style guide. This was recently just added. Sometimes it's a very sensitive area. You always want to make sure that you're presenting and being respectful when you speak of Indigenous peoples in Canada. So that will help guide you if you are doing some writing on that. Next, we have our consumer-facing website, destinationindigenous.ca. Here you'll find some content with blog posts, videos. We do have our own Nation magazine. It's an editorial magazine. Lots of good stories in there. Packages, and again, our interactive map with our Indigenous experiences. Siasgas, that means thank you in the Tsuut'ina language. I've left my email there, so feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Back over to you, Charlie.